What's up, comic and pop culture fans? This is James with Midhunter Comics. This awesome Justice Buster Batman suit just came out by Prime One, and it's quarter scale and it's DC. Hey, that's what I collect, so naturally I should get this, right? Well, unfortunately, I can't. So I wanted to do a statue chat about that, but instead I just thought, why don't I make a video about why statue guys like myself, why there are sometimes reasons why we simply can't buy a statue. So I'm breaking it down into the top 10 reasons why statue collecting dorks aren't able to get a statue. If you can, try to hit that like and comment down below. Only about 8 to 9% of my viewers are liking the videos, so make sure you do that. That would help me out big time. Reason number 10 of why a statue collector wouldn't necessarily pick up a statue is due to the brand. For obvious reasons, if you collect DC statues, you won't be picking up a Marvel statue. If you collect Marvel, you won't be picking up DC. If you collect video game statues, Transformers, DC, Marvel, Image, whatever your jam is, stick to it. There's going to be a lot of examples when you can't get a statue that you otherwise like a lot. You know how many great Marvel statues keep coming out, but because I collect DC, I'm not going to be doing it. If you are one of those people that can afford to collect DC Marvel video games and everything, f*** you. Next up, reason number 9, the make. A lot of the statues you see over here are sideshow, except for the occasional Prime One or the custom. So what I mean by make is the manufacturer. Who makes this? Is it Sideshow? Is it XM? Is it Prime One? Is it licensed? Is it unlicensed? Is it custom? Whatever the situation is. Some statue collectors don't care. They're just happy to get any character they want. For me, I collect DC quarter scale figures that are comic book based, not from movies, so I have to be a little more discerning. If Prime One makes a quarter scale statue, I'm good to go, right? Not necessarily. Because Prime One has a little bit of a problem where they like to make their statues too large, so that can affect the scaling a little bit. So, for the most part, I personally like to stick with Sideshow, XM, and custom pieces, because sometimes you run into a situation where your statue's too big or too small, and it doesn't totally go, despite them being the same scale. Reason number 8, nice transition there, we're going to talk about scale. Some collectors collect half scale, quarter scale, and third scale, as well as 6th scale figures, all in a big bunch. I know some Batman collectors out there have 1/3, they got 1/4 pieces, whatever, they don't care as long as it's their favorite characters. That's cool. You're sticking with your own blend and you're collecting your own jam. That's great. For me personally, I am sticking to quarter scale pieces, and I even dabbled in Spider-Man 6 scales, and I'm actually selling those off. I'm trying to come up with a cohesive look in my collection. I've actually got villains on this side, and I've got heroes on that side. So if I, for whatever reason, have a Poison Ivy that's twice as large as Bane, that might look a little weird to me. Some people don't care about scale. Number 7, quality. Some people don't collect because they don't like cut and sew. They'll completely skip over a statue that looks amazing just because it has sewed on elements instead of sculpted on. I know me personally, see this Doomsday behind here? He's more of a plasticky feel rather than the rest of my collection, and I've been toying with selling that for almost a year now. Not totally in love with that piece. Sometimes the material it's made of makes it look cheaper, makes it look more plasticky, so I think material definitely plays a part in a reason why someone might not pick up a statue. Number 6, and probably for a lot of people the most obvious, money. This is one of the most expensive, stupidest, not recommended hobbies out there. As you can imagine, this hobby can start to really rack up those bucks. Sometimes you see a piece that you love so much and you simply can't get it, but just because it is so expensive. Now, a lot of my statue collecting friends are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They're very solidified in what they do, and they're able to afford pretty extensive statues, and money isn't so much an issue for them. But for a lot of us, money is still very much a problem. I know I've had to skip statues several times just because of the price tag alone. Yeah, money's definitely an issue, and I'll tell you what, guys, statue collecting keeps getting more and more expensive. Number 5 is an interesting one and a little rare. Ironically, I'm talking about rarity. So one reason why you wouldn't hold on to a statue, maybe you get it in the first place, but one of the reasons you eventually sell it is if the aftermarket decides that it's extremely valuable. Take this XM Scorpion. I know it's an amazing looking statue. A lot of collectors have felt the pressure to sell this off, and unfortunately, despite how amazing it looks, they want to get rid of it because people are spending a crazy amount of money for it on eBay and in the aftermarket. I know I've sold some statues that I wish I didn't had to sell, but it's just that I sold it and it was able to get me like 3 more statues in its place. I miss you, Dr. Manhattan statues, so much. Number 4. This one doesn't turn me off that much, but it has on occasion, and that is color scheme. Sometimes if a statue is too muddied, I cannot buy it. You know, like I've been in the hunt for a lot of Batman statues in my time, and some of them are just too gray and black to the point where it just doesn't work for me at all. I have a lot of statues that are grays and browns, so I love when I get a statue that's nice and vibrant, like my girl Harley right here. I love her look. Love the look of my custom Riddler right there. Anything that has color, I will usually buy even more and almost right away, rather than having to wait for some sort of other version come out. Number 3. This is one of the ones that hurts the most. Sometimes you have an amazing piece come out. Maybe it's a character you've wanted for so long, it's kind of a rarer character, and finally one gets made and the pose is off. My statue collection is basically dynamic, which means an action pose, semi-dynamic, somewhat of an action pose, or the few occasional standard Captain Morgan style stationary poses. I try to go more dynamic when I can. Sometimes you get a pose like this Sideshow Starfire. I would love a Starfire in my collection, but she's sitting lounging back. That doesn't work when I have a battle sequence going on. I can't have her sitting and relaxing while everyone else is lunging forward and grimacing. Take a look at this custom Superboy. I want this so bad. I was a huge 90s guy. I love this Superboy right here. And guess what? I can't get it because he's taken a selfie of himself. Now, for some people, this would be amazing, but for me, it doesn't work with my statue. I can't have a giant battle going on and Superboy taking a selfie of himself. This is one of the categories that messes me up most often and can be the most frustrating. Number 2, another really obvious one here is space. Guys, I don't know about you, I do not own a mansion, so space is limited for me. I have gotten more creative about getting different risers so I can do different heights, and I am thinking about revamping things, and I am buying a new house in the next year or 2, which I am going to be factoring a larger room into. But until then, space is a problem, definitely, and for most of us out there, space is a definite concern. So a lot of these Prime 1 pieces, which I've come to call space hogs, because they're wide, they're deep, that's a problem. Sometimes you can't get it simply because it's just not going to fit into the frickin' shot. There's nothing worse than an amazing piece coming out and you have to skip it because it's just too wide. And unfortunately that happens all the time. And the number 1 reason of why I can't pick up a statue is if it interferes with my concept. I collect DC quarter scale pieces that are comic based that are fighting each other. So unfortunately, that doesn't include movie statues. You know how many good Heath Ledger statues keep coming out? I love Heath Ledger, I want it so much, but it doesn't make sense. I can't put a Heath Ledger in here with the rest of that because it interferes with the concept that my collection sets out for itself. Other people do whatever they want. They collect pretty much everything and it works for them. Good for you. Additionally, I have tried on multiple occasions to get the same of a character, and I found that I really don't like having 2 Batmans. I don't like having 2 Supermans. I like one definitive character because it's a battlefield in my eye. Some people collect just Spider-Man, just Superman, just Batman, and they've got like 30 statues custom and licensed of whatever have you. And that's awesome. Good for you. But for what I'm going for, if it's a movie scale statue, it doesn't work. If it's a video game character that's DC, it doesn't work for me. Furthermore, see how I've got Doomsday holding Superman's cape back here? I've wrestled with that for the longest time. I do not like having my villains holding pieces of characters that I have on that wall. Superman on that wall, I'm looking at him right now, he's got his cape. Yet over here, Doomsday's holding the cape. The Doomsday statue also has Batman's cowl, Wonder Woman's sword, Aquaman's trident. So unfortunately, I broke my rule one time with getting Doomsday. And I can't get this Justice Buster because it's got elements of beating the JLA all over it. And because I have those JLA characters in my collection in the room, I can't possibly have all their weapons at the base of this. I would get the Justice Buster despite how huge and wide it is and how much money it is if it wasn't for the fact that all these JLA bits are all over it. It's got Green Lantern's ring, it's got Aquaman's trident, and unfortunately, that disrupts my concept. So I have to pass. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Why have you ever not gotten maybe a comic book, maybe a movie? Why have you not gotten a statue? Did it not work with your concept? Was it too much money? Let me know down in the comments below. Are there any reasons I didn't include on here why you wouldn't buy something? As always, guys, keep on collecting as long as it fits your concept.